So then what is your argument against design?
Design? I see no
Yep.
evidence of design. That would be my argument.
You don't think that a DNA molecule is designed?
No.
Do you think a building is designed?
Yeah, by people.
Okay. Why do you think it's designed? How do you know it's designed?
A building?
Yeah?
Well, because we see people build them.
Right. So that tells you that because you see something built, you know there's a builder.
Yeah, if I see something built, yeah.
So you couldn't say the same thing about DNA?
I ain't never seen no one build no DNA.
So you can't say that DNA is a complex, intelligent design. You're saying that this is just a
It's
natural
complex, but there's no evidence that it was ever designed.
Right. Well, it just seems like you don't have a position in anything, really. Like there's no position. I mean, your position is that you have no position.
I have no, so I don't have an opinion on supernatural agents and the supposed works that they do and miracles. I have no opinions on things that aren't testable, that we have zero evidence of, that are unfalsifiable. That goes in with the untestable part, and all that. So there's all kinds of things I have opinions on. They're right up here. Evolution,
Right.
for example. Evolution totally happens.
Is Well, I mean, if you're talking about creation, you're talking about right, the creation, then you're basically saying two things: either the universe always existed, or what was the other? What was the other? I don't even know what you were. You said one of them. You said that the universe.
It's possible that something made this universe exist, or it's possible that this universe just exists.
Okay, so if it's possible that something made this universe, is a God not possible?
There's nothing impossible about a god. There just isn't any evidence for it.
We don't have any certainty, 100% certainty of anything. We don't have 100% certainty
Are you
of.
certain?
I see what you're trying to do here, but I'd rather not get into that philosophical debate. I'm just saying we need to make this is really a belief of probability. You know, like, what's more probable? It,
The god hypothesis is incalculatable. Uncalculatable?
right,
You
but
can't,
it's
you can't,
but
you
but
can't put a number on that.
you can.
So,
I agree, but you can
well, then
definitely.
there's no reason to believe it, and there's no reason to think it's a better idea than anything else.
For sure, there's definitely many reasons for it. I mean, you just look
Not
at you
okay,
look at
not from the perspective of statistics. So I don't know why you brought that up.
well, because if you're looking at the evidence, then you can, based off the evidence, you can say something is more probable than another thing.
Only if you have priors that you can draw on, and if an idea is even in principle untestable, then you could never have any data to draw upon.
We don't have it's, so I don't think you understand what I'm saying. All we have is evidence, right? We have evidence that there's matter. We have evidence that there's complex designs. There's evidence of many things that we can see in our observable
There's
universe.
no
So
evidence of complex design.
okay, that's your
There's
argument.
evidence of complexity.
I disagree, but I mean, besides that point, I mean, there's definitely, we can definitely agree, right? We can definitely agree that there's there is many things in the universe, right, that towards a cause, right? Whether that cause is a god or whether that cause is, I don't know. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that if you're saying that if you're saying the universe is eternal, then I mean, or You just don't know. Basically, you're appealing to the science. You're basically have faith as well. So you
No, I
have faith
don't.
in
I'm not,
science.
I didn't take a position one way or the other.
Yeah, you're not taking any position.
Yeah, so I obviously don't
So
have faith because I don't even take a position.
did you see the Big Bang happen? You didn't see the Big Bang happen. So you would have faith that in the theory
Have
of the
you
Big
ever
Bang.
been to Pluto?
No.
Do you think it exists?
Yes.
Is that predicated on faith?
Yes.
Really?
I had faith in the science that proves
That's
that Pluto
trust,
exists.
not faith.
I mean, how can I trust something I don't understand? Like, for example, how can I trust the science that calculates the Big Bang if I don't understand it? I would
Well,
have to have faith.
well, because there's scientific evidence of it.
Right. So that's faith.
That
I'm having
trust, but it's
I'm ha-
like when you originally said faith, what I took it to mean is what I mean when I say faith, which is the belief in something despite having no evidence for it. In science, our scientific ideas don't lack evidence. There's always evidence to back them up.
that's not the I think the definition of faith. Faith is that you believe in something, because the evidence could be subjective. My evidence might not necessarily be your evidence. So
That's
you so
not really what faith is. Faith can mean trust, but words can have multiple definitions. But in order for the word faith, like, why do we have a word faith if we already have the word trust? Well, because faith also means something that unique to itself, which is a belief that isn't predicated on evidence, just believing in it. So, like
are you
an
are you
afterlife.
are you able to look up the Webster's dictionary definition of faith? I can't do it
I've
because
done
I'm
it
an
multiple times. Can you just take my word for it?
okay.
So there's two. This is Oxford, but whatever. Complete trust or confidence in something. That's one definition. Strong belief in God or the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof.
Okay. So that that definitely does not mean that you can't have faith on evidence, based off evidence. It's proof is different. If we have proof, then obviously you can't have faith.
No, that is no, that is what that means.
Proof means evidence.
If you yeah, to provide proof means to provide evidence.
Um,
To prove
no,
something just means to present evidence in favor of it.
I could say that you need evidence in order to prove something.
Yeah? So when
Exactly.
it says that it's not based on proof, that means it's not based on evidence.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I disagree. Sorry. I don't think we're
Well,
we're.
you got to take it up with the Oxford Dictionary then.
All right. Well,
These
that's
aren't
all
these
I.
aren't my words.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk about like evolution or something? Because you and I, who grand scheme of things, we're both morons. We're trying to talk about where the universe came from, and
Well, it's like I told you. It's all about probability. You have to take the evidence around. You have to take the evidence around you, and you
but
have
you
to make.
have no, you can't calculate this. What are the odds that the universe came from some sort of god?
You don't have to calculate it. It's just you just have to make a.
Then stop saying it has anything to do with statistics.
I'm not saying it has to do with statistics in the way that
Yes, you
like it's
did.
not. Yes, but I'm not trying to say. I'm not talking in a numerical sense. I'm just talking
That's
about.
you. There
I'm,
aren't multiple kinds. There's no non-mathematical statistics. That's not a thing.
so what would you call evidence around us, and the way that you discern this evidence, the way that you interpret this evidence as to what you believe, as to what is your worldview? How would you put that into words? Because what I said, you're saying that I can't use probability. So what word can I use? If you're looking at the evidence and you're making not a hypothesis, but you're
You
making.
you can say it's a logical argument. It's I wouldn't call it a scientific argument because it there's no falsifiability with it. It can't be tested empirically. Plus, you're kind of just begging the question. You're saying the the universe is clearly designed because everything in the universe looks like it's designed, therefore it's designed.
Yeah, yeah, basically because we know that because
That's
obviously.
that's circular reasoning.
So what you're saying, so what you're doing right, what you're asking me right now is how do I know something is designed versus non-designed?
I didn't say that, but that's actually an excellent question. So, how can you tell whether or not something is designed?
Well, the way that I would probably answer that is that, well, we know what's not designed. For example, um, if you see if you see a pile of rocks, would you say that's designed?
I wouldn't.
Right, that's not designed because what you know about the world around you would tell you that that's not a designed object. These are just a pile of bricks. But if you see these bricks being assembled in a form where it creates a little house or whatnot, you can say that is designed. So,
Yeah, it has the hallmarks of yeah.
so that's how I could tell something is designed. It's there's order and disorder. So I can
Sure,
say,
that's a yeah, that's not a bad way of putting it, or that wouldn't be a bad marker. Yeah.
okay,
So, with that in mind, give me an example of something that's designed besides something that we know a person made.
okay, a DNA molecule.
Okay, what evidence do you have that that is designed?
Have you ever seen a DNA molecule assemble itself?
Well, we can watch that happen in cells all the time.
Right, but that's a design, right? The fact, I mean, it's still going to be the same question. How is that? Does this happen? I mean, this is a design, basically, is what I'm saying.
Making a molecule is design.
Yeah, there's a process that has to be done. It has to go through mitosis, right?
Sure.
So that
Well,
process
not mitosis, but
is not mitosis. I forgot. I mean, that's
no, the
just
DNA is already copied before mitosis happens, but
okay.
close enough.
It's the other one, isn't it? Like meiosis or whatever.
No, no,
Anyways,
no, no. It's just called DNA replication.
okay. So obviously there's a beautiful design here, the beautiful process here for these things to happen, right?
Sure. So cells doing things, I don't think means it is therefore designed. We know that there are molecules that can assemble themselves in nature and in laboratories. We've done that before.
I think that is like the weakest argument because what we have done in laboratories does not even compare, not even in the slightest, to a DNA molecule, even an amino acid.
Sure, but so well, like another example would be I can't remember where this is, but there's this place where we found that there's actually a naturally existing nuclear reactor inside the Earth, right? So it's not. We would say nuclear reactors here on Earth are designed, but the process of a nuclear reaction taking place, it doesn't necessarily require a designer because it happens naturally in the earth. The fact that we know that molecules can do this means that, okay, well, how is it that cells developed the capability to do it? Were they constructed whole cloth by a designer in their modern state? Or did they gradually develop it because everything that goes on in a cell is just physical chemistry, anyways? There's no miracle taking place, etc. So I think that, although, yes, I agree it's not the same thing, but it's kind of like a proof of concept, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're basically saying that there's no way I can possibly say that for with a certainty that something is designed.
I got a friend. He wants to come in and ask a question, and then we'll see. He's a smart dude. What's your
Please do it.
question, Matt?
Hey, how's it going? So yeah, quick question about the concept of design. You're basing your argument off of the universe you live in being designed by the deity you worship, correct?
Okay.
So if the universe you live in is fully designed by the deity you worship, how are you able to compare a non-designed attribute to a designed attribute if literally everything is designed?
Um, you know, that's a difficult question to answer. I would say that humans have some type of intrinsic sense of what is intelligent.
So you claim that a pile of rocks is not designed.
Yeah.
Then where is God in the design of the universe? That is portion of the universe.
The so the process by which rocks are made or the rock itself could be designed, but the way they're assembled, or that I would say is not designed. So even though he designs the observable universe, it doesn't mean that there can be examples of undesigned things in the universe he designed.
Then you're left with a position where either everything is designed, some things are designed, or nothing is designed. You don't really have a starting point with that argument. You're left with a concept of design. So if all we're left with is a concept of design, we should try to figure out why we think something is designed. And if I remember correctly, the biggest argument you had was complexity, right?
Yeah.
The complexity of DNA, the complexity of the human life, complexity of like a star or something along those lines would be things to say, well, this must be designed. Do you
Okay.
do you know what we actually look for when we look for something being designed?
No. I mean, I don't. I just. I could just tell when something is designed, but you
Cool.
can tell me.
Yeah. Well, engineers have a different methodology, right? Engineers have a saying. The hallmark of design is simplicity. Okay. And the reason they say that is because they look for the simplest possible machine to be able to get a desired effect, to reach a goal. In fact, they have something called the six simple machines. Have you ever heard that before? The
No.
concept of six simple machines?
No, I haven't.
There's six simple machines, like the screw, the wedge, the pulley, the gear, the wheel, and the lever, I believe, are the six. And every other machine that we see that is designed tends to be one of these six simple machines just made slightly more complex to be able to accomplish a goal, but only enough to accomplish the goal. And the reason they keep it as simple as possible is to prevent points of failure. So if you look at an object and it's extremely complex and there's many points of failure, that would lead me to think that it is not designed. It is simply a natural process that led to this goal eventually.
Okay.
Does that make
So
sense?
you're, yeah. So you're.
Cool.
I guess what you're basically trying to say, you're making the argument that creation is not perfect. There's many imperfections, and that.
Oh, not even
And
just that. The fact that it's extremely complex, as you said, shows that a designer didn't make it simple enough to accomplish a goal. Is more along the lines of crap hit the fan and whatever stuck to the wall stuck.
I mean, if you're gonna go by that point, then you're just. I would say that then you're just assuming that you know more than God, that you know what would work better.
No, I
You
don't
know.
You're
assume I
assuming
don't
to know
assume
the
I
mind
know.
of God.
Yeah, I don't
No, I
assume to
don't know
know
the mind of
anything
God
about a
at all.
deity because I don't even believe in one, right? What I do is I look at what I observe in nature and observe in reality and the data and evidence we can pull from things we can actually observe, and I move from that.
Right, but there's a problem with that. If basically if someone builds a computer, I mean, and could you find evidence in the computer itself of who made the computer? Like you can't look for evidence because the creator is outside of the creation. So it's
Then
the same.
okay, then why believe it? If we can't, you basically just said we can't even know it. So why believe it?
Not know it. I mean, but
And
you
to
can't
to
prove it without the doubt.
to answer your
Yeah, so why
question
believe it?
though, a computer isn't even created, right? A computer is formed out of pre-existing materials, and we do see the influence of the engineer of a computer, the designer of a computer, the person who built the computer. We see the evidence of that within the object because that person had to reach the computer, handle the computer, manufacture the computer. The physical evidence is there.
So you're saying there's a physical evidence in the computer that a computer was made, that
Yes,
was created by a creator, but there is no
not
physical
created. Like I
evidence
said, I
in
don't
the.
believe in creation at all. I believe in formation, the use of pre-existing materials.
So you don't think there's evidence in the universe that the universe had a cause outside of space and time?
Well,
Nope. In fact,
you said that we
I
can't
don't.
know it.
Yeah,
So
I don't think the concept of outside in space and time is even a coherent concept.
I don't. I don't.
We literally use the concepts of matter, space, and time to define everything we talk about. We talk about when it existed, where it existed, and what it is made of. That is
Yep.
how we define a thing. So to
Okay.
define a thing that doesn't have a when, a where, or a what means you are talking about a nothing. It's an incoherent argument.
Or you're talking about a creator that's outside of all that. Right? I mean, that's a possibility, correct? I mean,
I
I don't
don't.
think that's even a
Yeah,
possibility.
I don't know how you arrive at. It's possible that something that has none of the characteristics of existence exists.
wait a minute, but you just said before that it is possible, but now you're saying it's not possible.
The specific thing that you're describing doesn't
I
sound possible.
I
Before he
said, is
said
it
a god,
possible?
before he said a god, but he never once said outside of space, time, and matter. Right? That wasn't even part of the conversation until now. That's a new point of conversation. That was never agreed to upon by anybody.
No, I did.
But
I did. 'Cause I was
even
talking.
if even if I was to like just give you the whole outside space, time, and matter thing, right? Just give it to you, right? How would we explain the concept of creation? Because to create means to change, go from a state of nothing to a state of something, right? That is a change in that deity's current position and what exists around him, meaning that time has progressed. That is how we define time, is change. So if you go from a point which creation didn't exist to a point where creation exists, you are progressing in time, meaning that deity is temporal.
So I disagree with that. I disagree with that because you're basically what you're saying is you're saying that because God was before time or before the Big Bang Theory, then that would mean that he is in time and space because there was a time
No,
before.
let's make it super easy, right? Let's make it super easy. You believe that your God created our universe, correct?
Yes.
So prior to your God creating the universe, did the universe exist?
No.
So that deity went from a point where there was no universe to a point where there was a universe. That is a change. That is
Okay.
temporal. That is a time. There is a before and an after.
Okay, but the time
literally
start.
defining time.
Yeah, so I would argue that he brought the universe into existence, and that's when time started.
Was there a point before he brought the universe into existence?
No, there wasn't. Not for us.
You exist prior to that, then?
But we're talking about us right now. We're talking about our time, space, and matter. You're talking
No,
about.
you said outside of time. Period.
I get what you're saying. You're saying that because if God made the universe, what was before He made the universe, there was a time before that. So basically, time didn't start when He made the universe. But I
Here,
don't.
let's put it this way, okay?
I get what you're
If
saying.
one of your apprehensions is infinite regression within our universe, and then your solution is that the God who created this universe is outside of time, therefore is not somebody who has to worry about infinite regression, then we
Hmm.
can show that that deity is within its own time. Infinite regression then applies to that deity as well. Your entire argument for this universe is going to be your exact same opposition to your deity.
No, because infinite regression would only apply to matter, to our observable universe. Infinite regression would not apply to a God that's
Oh,
outside of that because he has no
so
beginning.
special pleading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He is. He is special. He is. He is.
Oh, so
That's not what he meant.
you're just gonna use the logical fallacy of special pleading to say your God is not something that is going to worry about infinite regression, yet the universe that it creates has to worry about infinite regression?
Of course, because there has to be a uncaused cause.
Why
There
does
has,
there have to be?
because then we get into the whole infinite regression thing. Then we just then a
Then
cause and cause.
why? Okay, so why can't the universe be uncaused?
You say, why can't the universe be uncaused? I mean,
Why can't the universe be uncaused?
well, I mean, we already spoke about this scientifically. I mean, it doesn't make sense
Why not?
that because you're talking about universe, you know, in the you're talking universe is within space time and matter, and you can apply the physical laws to it. You can't do the same with God, who's outside of all that. So you can't compare them. It's apples to oranges.
Well,
It's
the
like what
universe itself isn't
If you're
things, right?
if if your God is not subject to any of these things, then your God is completely unintelligible. So why must we insert something that we can't make any sense of to make the universe make sense?
You don't have to. I'm just saying that's why I told you from the beginning. It's about probability.
Well,
And now you're talking about numbers. I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about
That's
more
not
probable.
probable. That's not
you don't.
probability.
Yeah, you can't. There's no probability with the God hypothesis. You can't. You're just talking about. I think you mean like it's just a logical argument. But I don't see how we've been
For
on
me,
this for like a.
for me, it's a logical argument. But if I'm appealing to you, if I'm trying to convince you an atheist, we have to talk about probability because my evidence is not your evidence. You don't accept my evidence. So then we would have to go
Well,
with
it's
probability.
not evidence. It's an argument. Oh, you're talking about the intelligent design thing, right? Right? Right?
But
So since we can't show intelligent design, then we can't use it as evidence, right? It's a concept that you believe in, right?
I mean, there's a lot of things you can't show, but we believe in, like love. How do you know you love your wife? How do you know you love your mom? It's an intrinsic
Well,
sense. It's a feeling. I feel like I have an intrinsic
It's a
sense. I have a
personal
feeling.
anecdotal experience, actually.
Exactly. Yes. So I could say the same
So
thing about
yeah,
my belief in design. I know this is design because there's an intrinsic sense in me telling me that this was intelligently created.
and could you be wrong?
I could be wrong. Yes.
Yeah, because
But that's
we
not.
can show that design is not something we see. We can show evidence and we can show arguments on how design is not something. As I have already done, I've given legitimate logical arguments on why we should not consider the universe designed.
But
Okay,
that,
we're kind of going in
yeah,
circles, and I
yeah,
have
yeah, I
other
agree.
people that are waiting. So if you ever
All right,
want to come
I
back,
appreciate
Miguel,
I
we can talk
appreciate the
about
talk.
this whenever you
Thank
want.
you, Matthew. Thank you. Have a good debate.